Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Pauper video. Today's video is supported by an anonymous donor who just wanted to let me do my thing and gave me a dealer's choice donation deck list. So thank you very much. Okay, so this is Pauper's S tier deck right now. I don't like really feel that comfortable usually making comments like that about formats that are like 2 days old, but Moon Circuit Hacker is absolutely insane. So this Fairies or Ninjas deck, whatever you want to call it, has been sort of built for years around Ninja of the Deep Hours. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card, and that's pretty good. And when I was first evaluating this card, I thought, yeah, this is probably going to be like Ninjas 5 and 6, or, maybe 5 through 8 in this deck. It's pretty good. But I thought that, this thing just looting over time was going to mean that it was less powerful of Ninja of the Deep Hours. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. I evaluated that poorly. In practice, the ability to ninjutsu on turn 2 while holding up something like a Spell Pierce or while getting to deploy another creature as well is just nutso. And this also becomes a combat trick as well. Now, something that doesn't come up with Ninja of the Deep Hours, but that comes up with this one, is that you can ninjutsu multiple times in the same turn. So if you have ETB abilities that you want to cycle, if you have creatures you want back in your hand rather than in play, you can just kind of floop, 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 and move your creatures around. And it's really powerful. Now, because this deck now has 8 ninjas that it can put in, you can afford to play some things that are, kind of negative value, but are great on tempo. So this version of the deck has both Snap and a full playset of Gutshot in the 75. Some of the versions currently are messing around with mutagenic growth instead of Gutshot, and those things have different benefits. But spoiler alerts, if you are expecting a lot of the mirror, having some things like Gutshots that can kill your opponent's ninjas, definitely relevant. One of the other cool things that this deck is now doing is playing of one mind. If you control a human creature and a non-human creature, this is a 1 mana draw 2 card. Now, that's broken, right? So not only are we going to have these 8 ninjas that can draw us cards, we're also going to have of one minds. We're going to have some Spire Golems that are eventually going to be free or highly discounted. We've got counter spells on a stick. This deck is gonna be good. This deck is going to be really good. Now, this deck is also public enemy number 1. I expect to see main deck hate for this. I expect to see things like main deck Pyroblasts, main deck Electrickery, Suffocating Fumes, this sort of stuff in this league. And I say this 3 days into the set's release. Okay, so people already know this deck is insane. You have to be prepared for it. I'm recording this on the morning of February 12th. I expect multiple copies of this deck in some form or another to be in the top 8s of all the challenges this weekend. The biggest question right now is what colors do you play? And the biggest things I've been seeing in my league so far are there's a mono blue version that looks roughly like this one, sometimes with mutagenic growth instead. There's a blue-black version that plays Gurmag Angler because that works well with the looting side of Moon Circuit Hacker, and it also works well with the cheap cards like Gutshot that you're sometimes hemorrhaging from your hand. And I have seen a more traditional Izzet version that has Burn as reach and removal. And kind of the big question is going to be which one of these decks is best? And I think the ultimate answer there is going to be based on which one of these things is going to be best in the mirror. And we might have a Legacy Delver situation here where this deck is very clearly better than a lot of the other things that are happening right now. I say that with a caveat that so many decks just got a shot in the arm with this new Pauper Horizons set. I mean, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set. So we'll kind of see how it is. In the comments today, I would love to hear your thoughts on the format in the first couple days, especially if you've jammed quite a few leagues. I'm kind of very interested in Pauper right now, if that's not obvious from the 3 videos that I've released in the past 5 days. Before we begin, if you would throw me a like, I would really appreciate it. And if it's your first time here, hey, if you like this content, please consider subscribing to support my content. All right, let's battle. Okay, do I mulligan this hand? I'm on the draw. I get to just play a turn. I just play a turn 2 Moon Circuit Hacker. I can then snap or gut shot something out of the way. This hand is not exactly insane. I think I just have better starts than this. I wouldn't fault someone for keeping it, but I'm gonna try to just do better. Yeah, and I think this just is better. What goes back? I think it's either Snap or Sprite. I'm gonna send back Snap. It also could be Spell Pierce. Alright, so we're potentially playing against Affinity. And I am just going to use this Fairy Seer immediately to try to scry towards my next land drops. Alright, so Snap can go on the bottom. Land can go on top. And then next turn I will get to Moon Circuit Hacker, draw a card, and hold up Spell Pierce for one of my opponent's plays. Which I'm pretty happy with. There's also a world where we could just be playing against like some sort of Ephemerate deck. Alright. Moon Circuit Hacker comes in. Oh, alright, I just connect. Good stuff. Draw a card. Yes. Yes, I will do that. Alright, good stuff. I think, not knowing exactly what my opponent's doing, I am just going to hold up the Spell Pierce here. Like, they could just be some sort of Ephemerate deck, and if I get huge, sick value off of this... Okay, it's a Seagate Oracle. That does not get Spell Pierced. It's also something I don't necessarily want to snap back, but, like, I might just snap it back so I can just get in there again. We'll see. Ah, my opponent looked at the, Never mind. Okay, I would like to get in with this to continue looting. I could also just, like, vomit a couple creatures into play and then just, like, get in with Ninja of the Deep Hours next turn. I don't hate that instead. That also means that my of one mind will be on. Alright. Not necessarily as good of a turn as I would like. Fairy Miscreant is just going to cantrip. I'm going to send this to the bottom. I'm not sure like whether or not I just take a 1/1 that cantrips here. I really just like naturally want to make land drops. Alright. Yeah. I think opponent just gets to kind of sit there. I don't really want to like attack in and get gut shotted and whatnot. Or like attack in and trade like gut shot and hacker for this. I think I'm just going to attack in for 2 and make my opponent move first. Although, honestly, I think this pace of play favors my opponent. And I don't think I want to just play of one mind into a counter spell here. Like, I am winning in terms of clock. Alright, do I want to just bounce this thing back in hand to be worth 2 damage and a loot? I don't love it. I don't hate it. Let's get that thing out of the way. And I really don't care if this trades for a counter spell. Seems like that's what's happening. That is what's happening. All right. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about where being able to make these attacks while still holding up a Spell Pierce is just stupid good. So I'll Moon Circuit Hacker, pay my 1. I'm going to return my thing that lets me scry here. And I'll draw my card. Land drops would be great. Fire Golem, not what I'm looking for right now. Do I want to hold up Spell Pierce? I think I just need to scry for land drops right now. I think that's just like the most important thing that I have going on. I just need to move this out of the way. All right, Spire Golem, you go to the bottom. No covered island, you go here. Okay, opponent is not like ephemerating or anything on end step. So that's good for me. Okay. So this is another land drop. I don't want to do this pre-combat because it opens up a lot of options for me in terms of this turn cycle. Okay. Time for Sprite? Feels like it's time for the Sprite. Let's junk that counter spell, and I have 3 fairies, so I feel pretty comfortable that that is going to resolve. Alright, now I've got more lands. I don't think I want to do the whole gut shot thing into Ephemerate and just kind of get junked on. I've got a Ninja of the Deep Hours that I can use to recycle this Spell Strutter Sprite in another turn cycle, so I feel pretty good with where I'm at. Okay, my opponent has red in their deck as well. They just, like, haven't done a lot of stuff. Alright. Land drop. I think I'm good with just attacking in for 3. And then returning this. Alright. Return the sprite to my hand, which happens as like part of the cost, which is nuts. Nice. Yes, yes, I will use the ability that allows me to draw cards. That's what I'm here for. And I am just going to hold up my sprite rather than play out the Spire Golem. I am not in a hurry to win this game. Okay, and there's the concession from my opponent. It feels like my opponent just did nothing that game. Like, I don't know what was going on over there in terms of their hand. So how do I want to board? My gut shots didn't feel good that time. They could have the new dog. That's essentially an Elvish Visionary, in which case that would be good. I probably want Dispels, and I can consider Blue Elemental Blast for red sweepers. I just saw so few cards from my opponent's deck that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that. But I'm guessing that the thing I lose to is red sweepers, so I'll probably do that. I think gut shots will go for Dispels. My snaps don't feel great if my opponent is playing things that have ETB triggers. Like, I was kind of reluctant to go and use those cards, although I can use something like a snap to break an ephemerate loop. Unsure. I probably have to keep some number of snaps in the deck just to, like, get things out of the way. Maybe I'll, like, do kind of a 2-2 split since I'm unsure, and then based on how this game goes, if I lose, I can adjust. This is kind of a respectable hand that is pretty slow and would allow my opponent to get set up. I don't think I actually want to keep this hand. I think I have so many good aggressive hands that I just mulligan once. Yeah, I'll keep this. I'll ditch one counter spell here. And then I just kind of hope that I play a fairy, get to cantrip off the next fairy, then maybe find a Moon Circuit Hacker or my Ninja of the Deep Hours and just kind of go to town from there. Okay. But, like, does my opponent have the ramp card? Just totally blanking on the name of it. Not Geomancer's Gambit, the 2-mana one. Cleansing Wildfire. Maybe I should have taken my attack first so my opponent doesn't save the 1 point of damage, but I wanted to draw towards Moon Circuit Hacker. Alright, a Dispel. I don't mind that at all. I'll crash in for my 1. I've got 2 counterspells to just protect these idiots. This may just be a weak tempo game if I don't draw a ninja for a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. 2 damage divided as you would like, huh? I would like to say no. You can say no back if you have the ability to. Okay, opponent can say no back. That's fine. It's obviously very good. But, like, I did my best there. My hand is weak now. I have lots of things like Of One Mind and ninjas that can, like, get me out of those situations. I'm just gonna save this. Like, my opponent is missing land drops here, and I'm not. So, like, this will work towards me being able to, like, Of One Mind and do something else in another turn or something. I will sprite incredibly aggressively, though. I will basically take any spell that I can get for it. Okay. Yup. I've got 3 counter spells in hand. My opponent's missing land drops. That does mean their hand is full of gas, but yeah. I am 100% fine just playing this as a 3-mana card and then trying to fight over it with a sprite or a counterspell or something. Alright, they're going to try to say no. Do I want to use my hard counterspell here, or do I want to use a sprite? The sprite is a little vulnerable to a lightning bolt here. I think this card's important enough that I fight over it with the actual counterspell. Okay, I have won that counter war, it seems. Nice. So I control 5 lands. Oh, I control 6 lands. That's just free. Nice. I think it's fine just playing that out there as just a 2-4. I don't know that I need to protect that. And we're potentially seeing, like, a cost of comes into play, tapped lands here. Okay. I mean, I thought I was safe from Lightning Bolt, but Artifact Land plus Galv Blast does that sort of thing. Alright. So now I'm at the point where I just... Literally anything that I can reasonably counter, I will try to do so. Might even just, like, play one of these as an attacker. I'm just gonna say no. I have the ability to say no. And I am going to go ahead and just put one of these into play to make a ninja a better top deck, and just so I can start pecking for one. Alright. In you go. So now I have a slightly better counterspell available for me. But I need like a ninja or an of one mind or a spire golem or something so that I start feeling a little bit better about what's going on. Because otherwise my opponent like can play some big dumb stuff come the end game. And I will not like it. I'll crash in. I've got the like electrickery sort of cards that I really have to worry about. My counter spells are getting better and better, but my opponent has like a bunch of red elemental blasts. No, absolutely not. Oh man, what a good scry. Galv blast. I am just going to counter that because then my next spell stutter sprite counters 3-drops like fiery cannonade. Okay, good stuff. All right, well, so much for countering a fiery cannonade, but I have saved three creatures this turn. Let's junk fire. And that clears the stack. I've got 4 power in play, but I'm hellbent. I have a lot of cards I can draw that give me card advantage, but if my opponent has yet another sweeper here, this is not great for me. 3 mana, 4 mana. It's 4 mana. Back to 3 mana. Ooh. Archaeomancer for fire kills 2 of these things. Alright, that's pretty reasonable. I'm gonna lose 2 of these sprites here. Yep, good stuff. Ninja! I mean, Spire Golem's not a bad draw. I'll crash in there for my 2 and then play my free 6-drop. Really need a ninja. I don't know how many more times I can say that, but I think once I draw like 2 more cards and just like get a little bit of ahead, my opponent will start to have a hard time coming back. But now I'm in the situation where if they start flickering these creatures, I'm scared. Or 5 mana now. Sure, Muldrifter is annoying because it means that only my Spire Golem can attack currently. I mean, there's a ninja. That is what I need. So let's attempt to crash in with the Spire Golem. Does not get blocked. I'll ninja, return this, and I get to just play that again for free. Please connect. Damn it. Alright. I got the card I wanted, it just didn't work out. Just looking at the pile of cards my opponent has played, this is incredibly hateful for my deck, which is not surprising. Like, I think if you are playing leagues right now, you need to be playing something that has the capacity to be beating ninjas. So they're going to fire and take out both of these creatures and get their 2 for 1 again. Seems good. Then, yeah, I'm just going to kind of repeatedly be in the same position where I need to draw sources of card advantage. That's not it. I'm going to continue to attack, but that does open me up for like taking 4 back rather than the 2 that I am doing. But this game going long is absolutely favoring my opponent. I really wanted to get ahead in the early game, and I did not accomplish that. I still have not seen an Ephemerate in 2 relatively long games, though, which is surprising to me. Like, maybe that's not actually in my opponent's deck, but I really expected it to be. Or maybe it's been sideboarded out or something. I am taking the full 4 back. That's fine. It becomes less fine if my opponent has, like, a red elemental. Okay, yeah, there are the Cleansing Wildfires. I kind of figured out what was... Alright, so I feel like I know what's going on here, and I think I want those other 2 blasts now. This Spell Pierce is very dead here. Alright, I think I'm gonna chill. I don't think I can keep doing this. Like, my opponent just got, like, another land, another card. Sitting back is not great either, though, because they can just, like, Galv Blast this, and then I don't end up in a great situation at the end of the day. Another Muldrifter. Oof. Yeah, I think we have very much reached the point of the game where my opponent is just outvaluing me. I guess I'll play the land first on the off chance that something matters here. I don't think I get to save up and try for multiple spells in a turn. Like, a non-red elemental blast counter here just gets spell pierced. Like, if my opponent has actual factual counterspell, but that was not the case. Yeah, life's bad. That is all 4 red elemental blasts, by the way. No pyroblasts in there, just straight up red elemental blasts. 6? 7? What is this? When it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying. Okay, I feel like my opponent's deck is made to beat my deck. That is a lot of value. Alright, I'm actually not going to concede. I'm going to keep playing to see if I see ephemerates. Like, I think I am very much dead. But I would like to... I really want to know if that's a card I need to be playing around. Like, my opponent has seen half of their deck. I haven't seen anything of that nature yet. I think I'm going to essentially bottom anything that isn't an of one mind at this point. Alright. Opponent's not attacking yet. My life total isn't changing yet. Okay, I mean, this is why I did this, right? Was specifically to try and hit of one mind. Alright, my Spell Pierce is not beating that. Yeah, we're at the point of the game where my tempo cards are not looking hot. 2 mana. Okay, it's just another Wildfire, sure. Okay. Alright, did you find the Galv Blast to take out my Spire Golem? 5, another Muldrifter. Alright. Everything's fine. Everything's not fine. You Dispel. Alright. Show me an Ephemerate so I can concede. I'm so ready to concede. But, like, this was something I've never seen before, so I think I need to keep playing for information here. Yep. If my clock was lower, I'd concede here, but it's not. Alright, they found something else. Ash Barrens, that's fine. I don't think I can realistically deck my opponent. Alright, my opponent has reached the point where they are willing to attack and just send in there. That's fine. I think I will be pretty willing to just block and kill a Muldrifter, but like I am probably just dead to another attack, right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. Basically dead to another attack. Alright, I'm good. I'm good conceding there. So my opponent got through so much of their deck and never played an Ephemerate. I don't know that I can assume they're not in there, but I maybe can suspect they're not in there. Alright, I need to get 2 more Blue Elemental Blasts in there. Like, do I just board out some number of Spell Pierces because they're bad as these games go long? They're so good in the first couple of turns. But Blue Elemental Blasts are stopping my stuff from dying more generally. I also could, like, go down the snaps. My opponent's creatures are, like, these value ETB creatures. I think I'm going to do that. It means I'm not great at actually killing my opponent's stuff that gets into play, but I'm hoping that my opponent is dead before that matters. I am going to scry and look for another creature that I can play if this just dies. That land goes to the bottom, and I will top that. I am not sure if I will ninjutsu this in next turn if my opponent plays, or rather holds up mana. Now that they're not holding up mana, I'm okay, I think, playing this out, just drawing a card with it. I could play safer than that and just, like, play to protect it. I'm not sure what I am supposed to do here. I think playing to protect it is better. I have so many different things that I can use my mana for if my opponent plays any sort of cantrip. Like, I will 100% just trade a Spell Pierce for a cantrip of some kind. Okay. I am good with this. My opponent does not have their colors. I will crash in. No blocks. Do this thing. And I am going to hold up interaction rather than replay Fairy Seer. Okay, so there's another color. But this is a little slow on my opponent's end as far as the start goes. I'll bash in for my 2. I'll get another card here. Yes. So I think I will just play a Fairy Seer. I'll scry. I don't want another Fairy Seer. I will take the of one mind. And now I'm just holding multiple counter spells up. I'm ahead on board. I will probably use them quite aggressively. Alright. Cool. I'm going to send in with both of these. After no blocks. I can just do the Moon Circuit Hacker here. A little easier to kill, but enables me to use my mana in a slightly better way. Okay, nice. And yes. Okay, so I've made my land drop. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 cards in hand. I'll play 1 card just so I don't discard. And then I leave up 2 counter spells. That's fine. Okay. I don't want this land. I do want actual factual counter spell. So this is the first turn that opponent actually has access to red mana. Okay, so they're going to wait to do any fighting they can do on my turn. I am fine with that. I should not really lose any counter wars here. I'll probably just sprite that. Okay, you want to counter spell that. I can fight. Do I need to fight? I think I will. Alright, so sprite resolves, counters the blast, and then I'm good with where I'm at right now. So I will draw my card with Ninja of the Deep Hours first, and then I will go ahead and loot. Yes. Oh wow, that's quite good. I'm gonna just junk a Fairy Miscreant here. I have 3 mana available. That's a counter spell and a dispel. I don't need to play an of 1 mind or anything here. Note this is exactly lethal. Yeah, you got your land drop. You may absolutely evoke your Muldrifter. I am fine with that. I am not going to attempt to mess with anything that doesn't directly result in me dying or like not killing my opponent here. Okay. So I will go to my turn, make my land drop, and then attempt to crash in for lethal. And I imagine that I win any fights that happen here. A fire. You have 1 mana available. I will Spell Pierce that. Okay. That's the match. Now, folks, I might have sounded hyperbolic in the intro, but this is what I'm talking about. My opponent's deck was like very, very, very clearly meant to beat my deck, right? Lots of blasts, lots of fires, Muldrifters, that white card that made multiple bodies. They did not beat my deck, right? This deck is insane. This is a tough hand. I have multiple of 1 minds in this hand. I have 8 draws for this hand to just be insane coming out of the gates. I'm not sure if I should keep this one. Like, I have many better hands that can leverage being on the play much, much, much better than this. And I just don't have the reps with the deck to know how aggressively to mulligan. I think I'm going to mulligan this one, because I think I can get a hand of equivalent or better value pretty easily. This becomes a keep. I want to bin either land or Spell Pierce here, and I'm not sure which. I think I'll bin a land. Alright, let's play my Fairy Seer. And then I can kind of select. I don't want a Snap currently in the dark. Don't think I want a Fairy Miscreant either. Like, Moon Circuit Hacker is probably my ideal draw, so that I can do Spell Pierce type stuff. What is this? Okay, so this is going to be that deck that does stupid aura things, and they're good. Alright. I'm going to crash in with this. I do think I need to get my card advantage engine going here. But the provoke stuff is going to be very good and quite annoying. I now absolutely want a snap effect. I thought provoke was bugged on Magic Online, though. I am not sure if that currently works. Sure. Vigilance is actually pretty annoying here. What is this one? Okay, +1, +3. I just might be behind. Okay. Okay, the provoke stuff is working again. Yikes. Okay. That's not good. Yeah, I didn't know I needed that snap. But I definitely needed that snap. Oh, that snap. Obotamus golem, top a snap. So this thing can kind of fog itself. Yeah, I can't really spell pierce that. I can gut shot this token in response to something going on it, though, which is nice. My poor little fairies are in the abyss currently. So I'll jump in the way. Nobly. Not because I have to. Not because I have to, you understand. Do I want to snap that? Okay, how big is this thing base? Is this a 1/1 base? Yes, it is a 1/1 base, so I can snap it and then gut shot it. I think I am just going to go ahead and do that now so I can play out a fairy or maybe 2 fairies. Okay. Action from the chosen color. That's bad. I think at this point I cannot win. I'm just in the abyss to this thing. I can't remove it with any of my blue removal. It's past gut shots. It's not until end of turn. Yeah, okay. Alright, I'm dead to that. Does Annul do enchantments? Annul does do enchantments. I could also Curfew as a way to, like, bounce my opponent's creatures to their hands and make their opponent's auras fall off. That's not, like, amazing, but I'm probably doing it. What is coming out? Probably some number of Spire Golems and of One Mines. Could also maybe trim one of my Ninja of the Deep Hours. Because there's going to be a lot of times where I need to hold up mana. So, like, maybe I do, like, yeah, or something approximating that. How much do I believe in Moon Circuit Hacker and my draw step to get me another land? I think I have to believe enough. Let's do the fairy thing. This hand is very good if I get the second land. And then it's a little sketch if I don't. Alright. There's that thing again. Alright. This is not great for me. Maybe I should have just mulliganed. I've never beaten this deck, just throwing that out there. I did not hit my land in my 2 draws that I needed to. That's bad. That means that this is just going to get provoked and die after my opponent plays some enchantment. Like, a snap will still be very good at making that stuff fall off. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I should have mulliganed this one. Like, maybe that's on me. Yeah, I'm very dead. Kept a hand that, like, needed to hit a land drop pretty quickly. And I just failed to hit that land drop. Hopefully this snap can just get me out of this situation. I don't know that it can. Like, if my opponent is just holding up the ability to give their creature pro blue, there's not a lot that I can do to mess with that right now. Okay. That gets large quickly. Sure. So I snap this out of play. Yeah. I think I have to do it now so I can put a creature into play. Yikes. Okay. I think I should have mulliganed my hand. I don't think I can keep the 1-lander here and risk it when this provoked creature just, like, does so much damage to my board as a repeatable abyss. That loss is probably on me, but I think this deck is very scary because I'm not playing true removal. Even just, like, snapping this thing back to hand means that it just is coming back, right? I think this is a time where, like, playing an Izzet or a Dimir version that has true removal would be better. Okay, do I mulligan? I don't think I do. Like, I'm on the draw here. I get a draw towards a ninja, and then I get a scry 2 towards a ninja. Sure. I wonder if my opponent is playing, like, a Jund ramp deck. Multiple fairy miscreants. I think I am just going to bottom those and aggressively dig for a ninja here. I've got an of 1 mind that... Ooh, he actually might be playing against Affinity. It appears that that's the case. What sort of sideboard stuff do I have for that? Okay, I've got a handful of things. Got Steel Sabotage and Annul. Did not hit my ninja. I think I'm gonna hold up Counterspell this turn. Just hit for 1. And then I can play Fairy Seer next turn while holding up a Counterspell. Just don't want my opponent to go too ham on Thoughtcast effects. Alright. You can have your Blood Fountains. I'm fine with those. Like, they are good cards. They increase your artifact count quite a bit, but they don't directly kill me, and there's nothing to return right now. Right, my opponent is just, like, planning on waiting out my counter spells. Fine. I'll peck for my 1 point of damage and play another Seer. I really do need to hit a ninja. Okay, great. I will bottom the gut shot, top the ninja. I guess there's an argument to... You're just going to loot, sure. I guess there's an argument to keep the gut shot so I can gut shot a disciple, but I don't really want it right now. I'd like to just like get more aggressive and end this game sooner rather than later. I could just snap that back to my opponent's hand as a tempo play. Yeah, I think I'm going to let that just hit play. Wellspring is fine. Okay, I'm fine with the turn cycle ending there. Alright, so yeah. Send in with my flyers. And get a ninja in there. Alright. Absolutely, I will use that ability. And I think I'll just call it a turn there so I have actual factual counterspell up. And snap Mirror Enforcer at some point. Yeah, that's worth an actual counterspell here. I would like to keep that around. Oh, affinity with counterspell. Sure. That's going to be quite good. And another Galv Blast. Sure. Alright, how do I want to do this turn cycle? I think I will just start with a full price of 1 mind. Save 4 life. Bounce this now. Like, doesn't really cost my opponent anything to replay it, but this is just gain 4 life. I can counterspell it on the way back down if I want. It's just like awkward counterspelling that creature specifically when my opponent has multiple blood fountains in play. They can just sacrifice to return it and immediately replay it if they want. A chromatic star is fine. Guessing my opponent will just kind of immediately cycle it. Could be wrong. Yeah, they do. Kermag Angler. This is a little wild. I hope my opponent does not have another actual counter spell here, because this getting countered would sure suck. Alright. Bad news for Phil fans. Multiple spell pierces against 9 power on board is not where I want to be. I'll play this out. These creatures are not lining up well versus what my opponent has going on here. I'm going to bottom that. How do I feel about this? Not great, honestly. My opponent's just like large creatures are just better than what I am currently doing. I think I have to save this so I can ninjutsu it in rather than play it out. This is a very strange affinity build. But I think I want to aggressively mulligan because I think my opponent is going to beat me as these games go very long. I'm going to take this hit and see if I can maybe string together something that works. I've already used multiple of 1 minds, so I'm not actually doing all that great in terms of, like, card advantage. Alright. I think I am realistically dead. We'll find out whether or not that's true in just a second here. Like, I can play some chump blockers, but, like, my opponent's deck presumably has Galvanic Blasts in it. You doing here? Deadly Dispute? Is countering this worth 2 spell pierces? I think it is. There's 1. My opponent pays for it. There's the other. Like, my opponent still gets their value out of this card, but I just kind of, like, deny them 2 looks at a Galv Blast type card. Alright, a land doesn't really do it here. Like, I can play this Chump Block a Gurmag Angler, take 4, and then, like, basically die the next turn cycle. I'm just going to go ahead and throw in the towel here. What do I want? I did not really see things that Gut Shot were good against. My opponent has large creatures, not small ones, based on what I saw. I 100% want Annuls. I 100% want Steel Sabotages. And then I don't know how good my Spell Pierces are. My opponent was playing kind of conservatively. I can play some number of Dispels for their counterspells and Deadly Disputes. And Snap is kind of medium. Not being able to, like, truly kill creatures might mean that I should just be in another color combination rather than mono blue. Like, this list is smooth, but I kind of want to be in a second color to just have the ability to just kill some of these larger creatures. They make my life quite awkward. I think I'm going to go up to the full playset of Dispel, boarding down 2 snaps in order to do so. I don't think I like this 1 land situation here. I very much like this hand. I will bottom 1 land here. The second Moon Circuit Hacker could also go back, but I don't know that I want to do that. All right, I do love seeing tapped lands. So I'm going to go ahead and send on in, and I will just go ahead and put in a Moon Circuit Hacker and draw my card with it. I think I am okay just playing a Fairy Miscreant out here rather than holding up Dispels, since I do have another Moon Circuit Hacker. So if my opponent uses this mana to answer this, I don't actually care, right? I just, like, floop this back to my hand, play another one, and then I have Dispel up, protecting the second one anyway. All right, what do you got? Ooh, it is a Galv Blast on a Miscreant instead. Okay. I want to send in a Ninja of the Deep Hours this turn, and hold up Dispel. I think I'm good with that. Kind of do the flip-flop dance here, guarantee my card. Right's not bad. I want to hit more land drops at this point, but I have kind of like a good play from here for basically every turn, or more or less the rest of the game, backed by Dispel. My opponent can do multiple removal spells in a turn, or like removal spell and then counterspell. Things get a little dicier. But even if they do, I just like hard cast a Moon Circuit Hacker, and then like I'm in an okay position. Yeah, tapped lands. Let's draw a land. That would be super dope. I did not. I'll play a Hacker. I could just hold up Sprite and Dispel. I feel pretty good about just holding up 1 spell. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't want, like, my opponent to just, like, pass their turn and then fight on stuff on my turn, and I don't, like, use my mana at all. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. They're just cycling. Okay, sure. I will just Dispel that. Absolutely unwilling to let my opponent draw 2 cards here. Like, then I can have either single or maybe double protection up. I don't think I'm gonna ninjutsu here. Always yes. Always yield. Annul. Nice. Always yield. Yes. I do not need a Spire Golem currently. I also don't really need a second Ninja of the Deep Hours, so maybe I just keep this, because this will eventually become free. But if a wipe happens or something, I'd be happy to have another Ninja. Yep, this is fine. I still have 2 counterspells up since I drew the Annul. Just get hyper aggressive with that. I think I'll just get hyper aggressive with that. Okay, that's just a tapped land. Gurmag Angler. Yes. So at this point, I will play one of those out to just make some of my things easier to do. Snap would be cool. I don't think I want to play an of 1 mind before combat, but it's close. My mana's just a little tight since I'm light on land drops here. And Annul. I think I am going to play a Fairy Seer. Yikes. Use this to scry. Play of 1 mind to try to hit my land drop, and then I will be holding up Annul for my opponent's turn. So, admittedly, Annul does not counter removal spells, but like a removal spell on a Fairy Seer is kind of the big thing that I'm currently worried about. Your Deadly Dispute happens. Your Thoughtcast happens. This is a scary turn cycle for me now. My opponent can't really attack with this Gurmag Angler. They can use it to hold back some of my stuff, but can't super attack. Like, in this exact spot, awkward that I boarded down on these snaps, but like my opponent could just replay this Gurmag Angler quite easily with the number of cards they have in graveyard and the mana they have. All right, Munitions. That is an enchantment spell, is it? That is most unfortunate for you. Alright, I'd like to get over my mana bottleneck. Play a Fairy Seer pre-combat. I don't think I'm going to do that. I also could just send with all of these and lose one and force damage. I think I'm actually going to do that. I think this game is close enough to over that I'm good with that. I get cute? I get cute and, like, bounce this, put it in here, and deal 6 damage this turn. I think I want to be holding up Sprite. So I'm just going to bounce a Fairy Seer. I guess this is still 6, right? Bleh. Alright, draw cards. Draw cards. Discard card. I can discard a hacker at this point. Yes. Discard a ninja, I think. Alright, I am just going to hold up a Spellstarter Sprite for some small card. It only hits the Gal Blast type stuff right now. Like, I have 3 ninjas in play. Do I just counter that? I'm gonna go with no. Like, if my opponent sweeps this board, I want to be able to Sprite at end of turn, attack in the air. Oh, I discarded that extra ninja, so I can't actually do 2 this turn. I should have discarded one of these 1-drops instead. That was a mistake on my end. I didn't think that through well enough. That's fine. Oh, no. Fuck. Fuck. Right, does not currently counter that. That was not something that was on my radar. Holy shit. Alright. Opponent's deck is wild. I am going to absolutely just throw this in. I need to be dealing at least 6 damage a turn to out-damage this thing. I am going to try to get my scry on and find a snap. Bottom that. This will cantrip. I don't know that I want to spend my mana on it. I will attack for 5. Alright. Loot. Yes. I'll junk a Miscreant. Loot. Yes. I'll junk a land. Damn. Alright, maybe I should have played more of these Seers beforehand. Nope. Nope. Play another Seer. Nope. This just draws me 2 cards for 1 mana. I am good with that. Alright, so I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Alright. I will eat that. Opponent goes to 9. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 9. I mean, I'll play it. I'm vulnerable to anything my opponent has here. Okay. Oh, very good sideboard card. Very, 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 very good sideboard card. So I might, like, knowing that that is a thing now, I might need to have all these, like, curfews and snaps in my deck as well. Like, I beat it, but just very, very, very narrowly. I have a lot of things to be concerned with here. There's also a world where I end up over sideboarding. I honestly like Annul now because it answers that lifelink card. Ugh. Like, do I go down on something like Steel Sabotage because my opponent's most threatening cards are actually not artifacts, despite the fact that they're an Infinity deck? It's like Garmek Anglers and that lifelink card. The answer might be yes. Like, this also doesn't answer munitions. I am going to play a few more snaps, just so I have more answers to a creature with a lifelink counter. I'm going to keep this hand and hope that Fairy Seer can scry me to a ninja. If I miss on the ninja between my draw step, the scry 2, and the following draw step, like, so be it. I can, like, awkwardly play an of 1 mind on turn 3. But I think this hand is still good enough. Sure. Null is a reasonable draw. Right? Snap. I have to bottom this of 1 mind. I am not ready for that. I really want a snap at some point in this game, but I think it is very critical for me to try to hit a ninja on this next turn. I am going to bottom this and hope that I can find another one. Like, if I have an annul in hand so that my opponent can't necessarily just, like, resolve that stupid enchantment card that I've forgotten the name of, like, that's reasonable as well. Alright, I have missed out on my ninja. I will peck in for my 1 point of damage and play a Fairy Miscreant while holding up an Annul. Not sure how aggressively to use the Annul. Like, I don't know if I should just use it to counter a Wellspring or equivalent. I'm not going to use it for something like that. A Wellspring that could potentially get more value later, though, starts to be more appealing. Yep, not using on those. Okay, so my opponent doesn't have Mirror Enforcer if they're not playing it right now, because that's 7. Alright, I bash in for 2. And then, like, do I want another creature? I can tap out for Spire Golem. I don't think I want to do that. I'm also not sure if I want to just play Of One Mind. I don't think I do. I don't think I want my opponent to be able to resolve anything, really. Like, I want to keep their most critical cards out of play. I can't answer a Gurmag Angler right now, but my opponent's graveyard is light currently. They can change that by cycling all of their Chromatic Stars. Oh. You're not an artifact or an enchantment, are you? F. Okay. That's tough for me. I was not expecting that. Okay, sure, cycle away. Given the clock that I'm on, I probably have to trade resources pretty aggressively so that I can keep up. I think I'm fine if I draw a ninja, though. As crazy as that is to say. Nope. Alright. Land drop. This cantrips. Oh, they're gonna Galv Blast. Don't really want to be using Dispel on this. I'm going to. I don't want to. Okay. Am I fine with not having Annul up? Yes. I mean, kind of, yes. So I will bounce the Fairy Miscreant so that I can draw a card off of it next turn. Yes. Oh, Snap is fantastic. Alright, my shields are down this turn, so whatever my opponent can do this turn is potentially bad for me, but then I can, like, snap the Gearseeker Serpent out of play. Maybe counter it on the way back down if I draw a counter spell. Oh, Munitions is good. My opponent can ping my Miscreant right now so that I can't draw a card with it. Sure. Alright. Land drop. 1 mana, draw 2 card. Oh, multiple snaps. I will snap that back to my opponent's hand. Untap 2 of my lands. Attack with both of these. Ninja. Draw 2 cards here. Okay. What is the next play? I can go 1 mana Spire Golem and hold up Annul. That's probably reasonable. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm good with that. And then I can snap the Gearseeker Serpent out of play at some point again. Alright, yeah, you can start pinging my ninjas. That's obviously good, but I have a lot of toughness here. Not insurmountable amounts of toughness, but a lot of toughness. I would like to keep one of these ninjas so that, like, I can play my Of One Mind for a discounted cost. But if my opponent, like, starts sacrificing lands to get rid of these ninjas, I think that's the point where I start pulling ahead. Like, I still just do have a draw 2 in hand. Yeah, that's fine. That is expected. This not being an artifact is rough. Like, in terms of, like, the answers that I have prepared. Alright. Am I willing to just snap this out of play and try to make my opponent sacrifice 2 lands? Probably. But I am going to cast this for 1 mana right now while I still have this ninja. Ooh, yeah. I will go ahead and snap this out of play. My opponent can technically sacrifice it if they want, but I don't know that they actually want to do that. Okay, so they are going to sacrifice 1 thing and ping my ninja. Alright, they're going to sacrifice another land and ping my ninja a second time. Sure. I will untap 2 of my lands. I will attack for 2. Then, ninja. Do 2 damage. Draw a card. Second main phase. Fire Golem for free. Spy Golem, Golem for free. I want to hold up 3 mana. I think I will go ahead and scry. I don't want lands. I do want ninjas. Alright, so I have a null and a sprite for 2 available. Now, my opponent's Gearseeker Serpent is not 2 mana anymore, because that's like a 7-drop. Its cost is reduced by 1 for each artifact my opponent controls. I wonder if my opponent went too deep in sacrificing their lands to just take out that ninja. I also don't think I care about the Serpent anymore. Like, if I had a counterspell, I don't think I would counterspell it. They just have 5 in the air. That's a 2-turn clock in the air. That munitions is not going to be great at taking care of, because our golems have big butts. Alright, yep. I really like opponent's deck list, though. I'll counter that for a single mana. I am fine with that. Yeah, your Gearseeker Serpent is fine. Do I want to just play Spellstrider Sprite for 1 more damage? I don't think I do. 5 damage in the air is just about as good as 6. Okay, I have 6 damage anyway. Yeah. Ninja. Bounce this. Get an extra card. A hacker, sure. I probably should play some number of these to just make a, like, Spellstutter Sprite a hard counter against more things. Bottom both of those. I will just play this. Now I can get 3 drops, such as Fiery Cannonade with a Sprite. Cannonade isn't actually going to beat me, right? Fire Golem is a thing. I respect this. I absolutely respect this. GG's, opponent. Woo! Opponent's deck was good. My deck, though, when I am doing my thing, I just feel unstoppable. And, like, I'm not a Pauper expert, right? Like, I play 2 or 3 leagues a week on a good week. And even with, like, the skill that I have, like, I am navigating through some insane situations with just this raw card advantage that I have. Hey folks, if you've made it this far in the video, you're probably enjoying my content. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. You know what they say, a subscriber a day keeps the mimics away. Okay, I have a reasonable hand that can just play a Moon Circuit Hacker on turn 2 with, like, no backup or anything, though. I think I just leverage the fact that I'm on the play and try to connect with a ninja on turn 2. No. Okay, this is very easily the best hand so far. I have to toss back 2 of these things. That's going to be this, and then 1 of these 2 cards. I think I'm going to toss back the counter spell and try to use the of 1 mind to undo some of the damage that was done to me in these mulligans. I am going to take this land. I am really going to want the 3rd land drop if something happens to some of my cards. Bloodveil Caves, okay. Sure, so maybe a control deck of some kind. So I will crash in for my 1, do my ninjutsu thing, draw my card. Yes, another of 1 mind. I'm going to play out this Fairy Seer. Counterspell is really good. I'm going to bottom this land and keep Counterspell on top. I'll be a little sad if I lose this to a removal spell in this turn cycle, but if that happens, I'll just, like, Divination on my turn, and, like, that's totally fine. Does the Rakdos Burn deck play the life lands? I don't think they do. Okay, sure. Okay, this is the Burn deck. So I have a relatively aggressive start here, and I have a counter spell available. I'm just going to take my 1 mana Divination. I'm going to loot away that Gut Shot. So there's 3 damage. Yes. Gut Shot goes away. I think I'm just going to play this. I'll have a Spell Pierce up, which can potentially counterspell some of the scarier things that can happen this turn, like a Searing Blaze. And then, like, I have 4 counter spells in hand from there. I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at. Oh, yeah. Like, please. Please land cycle here. Searing Blaze me. Searing Blazely. Blazely? Alright. Epicure. 1 damage to each opponent. Yes, that's fine. It does block my hacker, and is a reason why I might have wanted Gut Shot, but I don't really want to do 2 damage to myself to get some of this stuff out of the way. Alright, am I attacking with the hacker and just trading for this epicure? Yes, I think I am. Like, that's something that potentially just deals me some amount of damage over the course of this game. I think I'm okay with that. Like, I have some number of my opponent's next 4 spells just kind of handled with the stuff that's in my hand. Yeah, bogging me is fine. If I hadn't have drawn 2 of 1 mines already, I might have been more inclined to just try and keep a human around. Alright. I think I'm just going to play this pre-combat and just make it so my spell starter sprite is more effective. Yes, I am good with these cards. I'm gonna go sprite and hacker on top. Hit for 1. Feel quite far ahead right now, and I'm gonna have a pile of blue blasts for the post sideboard games. We'll see. I was surprised at how much this deck was able to do in a previous league that I recorded, so like I don't want to like underestimate this deck. Given that I know I have another counterspell on top of my deck, I think I'm fine using one here on this. Okay, so they're gonna loot in response. That's fine. Okay, what is Dark Withering? Alright, so they're going to try to destroy target non-black creature with Madness. That's just destroying a 1/1. I think I just let that happen. Although I can recycle it with Woozy What's It next turn. Alright, maybe I do counter it. Alright, counterspell. And then this trigger dunks the Epicure. Alright. Good stuff. Crash in for 3. Moon Circuit Hacker, bounce the sprite. Draw a card. And now I have 2 sprites. How do I lose? How do I lose? I have like 3 hard counterspells and 1 soft counterspell in hand. So instant. Sorcery? Sorcery. I'm just starting to think about dispels. Okay. Gut shot, not super what I'm looking for. I will loot that away. I intend on sideboarding out my gut shots in this particular matchup. Alright, so you're going to Madness a Fiery Temper. So I'm fine with using a sprite on that. I have 3. Alright, good stuff. And this deals 4 to my opponent, assuming nothing else happens. Spell Pierce. Ooh. Yeah, so this is fine, right? So you cast that. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. I will just sprite that away. Use that to junk Kitchen Imps. Then I will Spell Pierce the Lightning Axe. What a disgusting series of exchanges there for me. So now I get to loot away this gut shot. Yep. Now, my opponent can do some amount of damage to me, but unless they have a sweeper in their main deck, which I'm guessing they don't in their burn deck, fuck me, I guess. Alright. That's something I was not playing around. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass the turn here. And I'll just end of turn play this and then bounce it with Ninja. And then that allows me to keep Counterspell up for something that I find kind of spooky. Yeah, that's spooky enough. Okay. So that can come into play. Not actually super worried about that. So my opponent can attack with that, and then I will get to like draw a card and deal 2 damage to my opponent and have the Spellstarter Sprite back in my hand. Opponent still has 4 cards in hand, like despite all of those trades that I made sort of in my favor. Crash in. Ninja thing. Draw my card. Yes. Oh, Spire Golem is exactly the sort of shit that I want to see here, because it like walls Kitchen Imp and allows me to safely sack in. Sorry, not sack in. Attack in. My sprite's not great against some of my opponent's stuff. Crypt Rats is definitely a concession to trying to beat my deck in game 1, I think. That's what it feels like to me. Alright, do I just want to counter the Epicure? Yes, I think I'm just fine with trying to make that trade here. And it succeeds. Tortured Existence. Discard a creature card, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's very cute with like Kitchen Imp style cards. Very cute. This only lets you discard creature cards. My opponent's Crypt Rats are basically, well, not 100% unusable, but they're getting close. They're not going to be able to wipe things like Spire Golems unless my opponent can gain some life first. Okay, what was that? So they discarded a Merchant of Vale to return the Epicure. Probably just an attack in with everything situation. It could just be attack in with a 2. Sprite would just get blocked by Kitchen Imp. I would either deal 4 damage or 2 damage and draw a card. Dealing 4 damage and making it so that my 1-drops can't get sniped anymore is solid. This feels fine to me, though. I don't think I need to get overly aggressive in trying to close this game out. So, I will go 1, 2, return this to my hand. I'll still get to draw a card this turn to replace my creature that just died. Counter spell. I love seeing that. I'll Spire Golem and hold up counter spell. Alright. What do you have for me? I'm probably counterspelling extremely aggressively here. Yeah, whatever this is, I counterspell it. I mean, Grey Merchant would be dope. But that's now lethal damage in the air. Alright, good stuff. I have 0 graveyard hate, right? Yeah, 0 graveyard hate. I could do Annul for Tortured Existence. I think I'm supposed to just try to kill my opponent without caring about that card, though. I need to board out these gut shots. I think I just, like, really don't want to go down that route. So that gives me 3 Elemental Blasts for my opponent's stuff. And then I can try to annul Tortured Existence. My snaps are kind of medium. They get blockers out of the way and let me draw cards, though, so I'll probably keep all of them. My opponent's red cards aren't as good as their black cards, but, like, red cards are removal. Let's get 1 more of those in there. Go down 1 snap since a bunch of their creatures have ETB triggers. That could be reasonable. I could also go down 1 of 1 mind, I think. My hand here feels fine but slow. I could totally keep this hand. But seeing as it has neither an enabler nor a ninja, I think I just mulligan it. Alright. I'm going to need to hit a land in 2 or 3 draws or this hand is going to become bad. I'm going to bin an of 1 mind here. I think of 1 mind at this time is currently better than Spire Golem, but Spire Golem walling the 2/2s is, I think, important as this game goes long. Alright, opponent can officially do shenanigans. So, hope I draw a land. Okay. What is this? Discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Sure. Or a Kitchen Imp. Okay. If I'm on the draw and I miss this land drop and my opponent has turn 1 Tortured Existence, I think that's enough things lining up poorly for me that I'm not likely to win this one. We'll see. Okay. So, I don't get to attack in currently, since this Kitchen Imp is in play. Is this an instant? This was an instant. My opponent could have waited on that. I guess they start walking into counterspells if they do that. No, that was justifiable. Alright, I'm gonna chill. Okay. Yeah, so this is just a repeated version of that. I think since my mana situation is not good right now, I just counterspell this, like, because it is a target that I can counterspell. Alright. 3 mana Spire Golem this turn? I think so. This is gonna start getting kind of weird, I think. Sure, you can take another land. Only the creature cards can get discarded, so this can't just, like, immediately bin, like, Fiery Tempers and such. Crypt Rats. Don't love that. Draw cards? Feels like this is a draw cards turn. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and ninjutsu, put this into play, connect for 2, draw my card, make my land drop, 1 mana, draw 2 cards. I can turn this into a cantrip immediately, or I can hold up Blue Elemental Blast. I think I'll just hold up Blue Elemental Blast, especially since I have 2 of them. Again, not having true removal is a little awkward right now. I would love to just have been able to shoot that Crypt Rats while it was tapped out. But I don't really think I'm supposed to be playing Gutshot in this matchup to do so. Okay, alright, your creatures are not coming in. Makes sense. I don't really want to allow my opponent to start, like, looping Kitchen Imps, like, by just attacking with this Ninja and going in, but I also do really want to force my opponent to blow this Crypt Rats. I don't want to lose this Spire Golem to it, if at all possible. I'm going to see how they feel about this play. Alright, they just let me draw. Okay. Then I am going to attempt to get in there with Ninjas of the Deep Hours and probably end up trading with Kitchen Imps, unfortunately. Yep, that is indeed what's happening. But if I'm going to get in for damage with my other flyers, I kind of have to make that trade. And I think I'm going to sandbag Spire Golem here. Okay, they are just going to Crypt Rats for 1. They can Tortured Existence and return that. They're targeting the Kitchen Imp, discarding an Epicure. Sure. Unfortunately, my current removal cards don't work out super well with this. Like, my Blue Elemental Blasts are not countering these things. My Sprite isn't big enough. This is going to be a game that goes exceptionally long, I think. I can't answer an enchantment once one is in play, realistically. Alright, so there's my Spire Golem. And I think at that point I just chill. So this is going to... Oh, nope. Red mana. Lightning Axe. Actually, I should probably say no to that with a Sprite, right? No, the Blue Elemental Blast only counters the red stuff. That's fine. Oh wait, what is this Recluse? 5 mana. 2/4. When it blocks or becomes blocked by a non-black creature, destroy that at the end of combat. Okay, so it's essentially a 2/4 Death Toucher. Sure. At some point I might need to just, like, respect my clock and concede. But I think I'm on the wrong side of the equation here. But I have powerful enough stuff in my deck that I'm not really willing to concede yet. Alright, Snap is interesting. Crash in. No blocks. Hacker. I get to draw my card. Yes. Totally fine with Counterspell. Replay Spire Golem. Call it a turn. Alright. So that's targeting a Merchant. You've got a Kitchen Imps, which I guess I just let get in play. And Haggle. Sure. I can just Sprite that. I can just Sprite that. I'm fine with doing so. Still got a Pierce and a Red Elemental Blast up. I don't want to give my opponent just absolutely insane amounts of value when I can avoid it. I also might be able to go wide of a lot of what my opponent is doing. I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that, like, my opponent can get back Crypt Rats at basically any time. Alright, this is a Blood Token activation. For Madness. Yeah. Don't love this. I just have to take this damage here. Before Death Toucher is awkward for me. Seer. Okay. I'm going to start with an attack in with a Spire Golem. Opponent is willing to double block. I'll just go ahead and snap one of those back to their hand. Untapping my 2 lands. Taking that out of play. This isn't really getting me where I need to be, though. Need, like, more ninjas and one with nothings and stuff like that. I think if I don't make significant progress by the time that I am at, say, like, 10 minutes on the clock, I should probably concede in case I get locked into another long game like this. I also might need the annuls on the play to answer this. Thing is, like, if I do that, I can never, like, not have the mana up to do that, which will be a warping pattern on my game. Yeah. Alright. I assume I'm just going to, like, get into a awkward Kitchen Imp loop here. Guess I just counterspell this, but I can draw an extra card in this turn cycle. Alright, so they get another one back. Alright. I should not have played that land drop. I regret that, because I could have looted it away with the Hacker. Now I have to, like, loot away a Spell Pierce instead. Yes. Pierce. That's fine. Yeah, I just don't have sideboard resources to just, like, permanently disrupt this, like, loop sort of situation that my opponent has going on. My opponent can also close the game out at pretty much any point with a Crypt Rats, right? Not, like, super technically, but, like, it's a thing. Yeah, they're going for the Crypt Rats now. So I'm basically dead to that. They'll just, like, throw 5 or 6 mana into that, and that basically does me in. Okay, at this point, I think I'm close enough to dead that I am just going to concede and save the clock in case I need it. I think I want these annuls. I'll have annuls and spell pierces for Tortured Existence. I don't think the spell pierces are particularly great, but I probably just need more answers to that card since I'm bad against it. I can snap some of my opponent's creatures out of play. That's okay if I'm ahead on board, and not great if I'm at parity or behind. Probably need to keep some number of them. I could also potentially go down on blue blasts. Like, I don't think they're fantastic. They're fine. They stop, like, the fiery tempers and stuff, but they don't stop this, like, graveyard recursion loop, which is my biggest problem. I'll play a couple of them. This is fine. I have to make the decision about whether or not I want to hold up a null on turn 1. Rather bad for me to do so, because, like, I can Fairy Miscreant on 1 into Ninja of the Deep Hours on 2 if I ignore a null, and that's, like, my best opening, but then I'm not holding up a null until at least turn 3. Um, I think the annul is important enough that I hold it up. It feels bad, but it was necessary. That's a very clutch counterspell. All right, so now I will go land, Miscreant, and I still hold up an annul for the off chance that my opponent has another one. Vampire's Kiss, sure. Take your blood. Okay, I am very, very happy. I cannot overstate how good hitting that land drop is, so that I am still holding up a null while also getting to do my whole ninja thing. That's very clutch. Nice. Okay. So now I will pretty much hold up a mana for an annul for the rest of the game, if at all possible. All right. Carnarium, that's fine. Opponent's doing madness stuff. That's okay. I might trade my ninja for the kitchen imp. Like, I have other things coming that are going to be better than those. I don't know. Like, I can just keep it as a human. All right, my opponent does not want to attack. Yeah. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go 2 mana, play one of these. 1 mana Miscreant, and then I have 2 1 mana counter spells available. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna just attack. I should have changed my sequencing if I was going to do that on the off chance that my opponent doesn't block, but this is okay. Not entirely sure if I can actually use Blue Elemental Blast on a removal spell here. Because, like, Tortured Existence is something that I probably lose to. Maybe I shouldn't have played this Miscreant. Yikes. That's very good. Alright. Please don't slam Tortured Existence and punish me for this. Okay, so here's a looting. Another imp. A nuisance. But this means no black mana is up for a Tortured Existence, which is the sort of thing that I need. Crash in for 2 here. Opponent drops to 18. Go 2 mana Spire Golem. 1 mana for a Seer. I don't, like, super love my position. I'm aggressive. Island goes to the bottom. Do I take a Spire Golem? I think I'll take a Spire Golem. It's not, like, my ideal card. I would prefer a Ninja, but I think that's a slightly above average draw. What you got going on? You got 2 mana and you're thinking about it. Multiple Spire Golems might be able to just power through a bunch of recursive Kitchen Finks. The next question is, like, do I even play out the 3rd Spire Golem when I draw it because of Crypt Rats specifically? A Lightning Axe. I'll let my opponent pay for this spell, and then I will beb that. Bye. So, yeah, Bog is fine. That doesn't have real text here. I will turn some 2/4 sideways. You don't have reach, right? No. Yeah. Alright, there's 4 damage. I think I'm all in here. Crypt Rats gets to bully me. But I think I need to try to, like, do what I can to close out this game before my opponent gets to their end game. I'll take this hit. My opponent is saving. Fuck. Damn it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 6 damage in. Does 7 damage in matter? Not exactly. But the Script Rats is probably activating for 4 sometime in the not too distant future. I can chump block with these Fairy Seers if I leave them back. Yeah, I might go ahead and leave them back then. I save 4 life by doing that, which is pretty relevant because I am at the lower life total here. Alright, and I'm gonna sandbag this land like it is a counter spell. Okay, they're looting rather than immediately going for Crypt Rat stuff. I guess this still leaves up 4 mana to do their thing. Kinda need some of one mind type card here, like an of one mind or a ninja to recover after this board wipe. Yep. Anticipating my opponent wiping the board, I am just going to take my chumps here and preserve my life total. I think they're pretty locked into wipe the board, otherwise they take 6 in the air. Okay, that's fine. Potentially a very relevant point of life. Okay. They are not willing to wipe this turn. Sure. I am going to go ahead and cast this pre-combat. That's not bad. I will go ahead and crash in with all of this. I will then 1 mana, Moon Circuit Hacker. I still do the same amount of damage. I get to draw a card. Now I probably just go ahead and do redeploy a Spire Golem. I don't know that I have the time to sit here and really think about it. I'll still have 2 1/1 flyers after everything is said and done. Awkward, though, because if I block this Kitchen Imp with this Spire Golem like I was thinking about doing, then my opponent only has to... No, they still have to do it for X equals 4 to hit these other ones. I will soak up my 2 points of damage here and make my opponent blow that for X is 4 or more. Depends, like they're at 7. Okay, that is a 1 mana of 1 mind. Very happy with that. Snap. That's very good here. I'm going to attempt to crash in with everything here. All right, that is X is 4, confirmed in chat. So I will go ahead and snap one of my Spire Golems back to my hand, untapping 2 of my lands, then let that resolve. Now I get 1 mana Spire Golem, 1 mana Spire Golem, 1 mana Fairy Seer. Island can go away. Sprite is medium. I think I am just going to take it so I guarantee that I don't have a land drop here. And now Crypt Rats is not an out to these multiple Spire Golems. Opponent has to have a very good turn to not die to all of these attackers. This has been an absolute slog of a game. How crazy can you get with your blood tokens? You've got 3 of them. Is that the concession? That is the concession, and we are now 3-1 with this deck, only losing to that white provoke creature, which I've never beaten. All right, round 5. I have turn 1 Idiot into Ninja of the Deep Hours as follow-up. And I just get to draw my card for free because my opponent has essentially an ETB tapped land, so I am good with that. In comes the Ninja. And I'll take my 2 damage and 1 card, please. As if I'm going to say no to that. Okay, yeah, you can fetch your presumable mountain. Oh no, plains. Interesting. Love these new arts, by the way. Or you cast blue, black, or red spell, gain a life. Sure. Okay, so I'm playing against familiars, I guess. Yeah, that's okay. Like, I can just get, like, of one mind stuff going pretty much immediately. My flyers are going to be what's important here. My counter spells are still very valuable later. I think I'm just going to get more creatures going in the air here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and of one mind. And I will take this cantrip. I essentially just want to keep hitting my land drops so that I can have mana to, like, do the ninjutsu stuff and still hold up, like, sprites and counter spells. Okay, you've got your land drop. And do a Seagate Oracle. That's fine. Like, this stuff doesn't fly. I'm still getting my damage in. All right, land drop. A little unclear if I even do want to ninja here. I will. Like, this is just going to cantrip later. Take my card, a sprite, 3, 6, 7 cards in hand. Yep, I will just hold up a sprite for X's 2. Or hold up counterspell. Familiar, I will just attempt to counter that with a sprite. Do you have a counterspell of your own? Or a removal spell, honestly. Snap, bouncing one of my fairies. Sure. So untap your lands. Fine. We'll see if I get bitten in the butt for not, like, actual factual counterspelling that card. Yeah, I wouldn't have. Okay. Take my 1 damage in the air here. Opponent drops to 17. I'll go 1 mana for a Spire Golem and hold up 2 counterspells here. I basically would like to leave my opponent in a situation where they never get to start an Ephemerate loop. I'm gonna have Dispels for the post-sideboard games. Archaeomancer. I'll just counter that. That's fine. You can have your 1 life there. Now, do I want to sprite at end of turn? I don't think so. Snap is reasonable. I'm gonna go ahead and crash in with these 2 creatures. That hits my opponent for 3. I think I'll miscreant. Second miscreant to draw a card. Fire Golem. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just snap. Yeah, I think I will just snap one of these out of play. Oh, is this? Okay. Wasn't super expecting my opponent to have flyers. I'll untap 2 of my lands. Now I will play a Spire Golem and call it a turn. I can sprite away something up to 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you can have that. Maybe you can't have that back. Since I have another one, it's pretty free for me to just do this and just counter that. Yeah, I'm guessing they specifically added this because Fairies is picking up. Yeah, gut shots, sure. What else do you have? Snap and Oracle. Okay, that's not bad. Now you can play an Oracle. My last counterspell I need to sandbag pretty aggressively, I think. Yeah, you can preordain. Gut shot. I'm plenty happy with that, because that means I can finish off this creature after it blocks my sprite. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that. I'll send in with everything. Alright, fairy blocks one of those. Sure. Opponent's not blocking with this. That's all fine with me. Alright, so now I will go ahead and gut shot this fairy duelist out of existence. And just go ahead and scry 2 here. Try to find a source of card advantage. Like fairy miscreant into having counterspell. That's respectable. I am good with this. So what is this good for currently? 1, 2, 3, 4 in theory. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this does not answer a Mole Drifter. That's fine. I expected the Mole Drifters to be in the deck. Alright. So I fairy miscreant into the known counterspell. Probably just Spire Golems this turn. I'll bring my opponent to 9. I get a good amount of life back via this idiot, so my opponent is not, like, in imminent danger or anything. I don't love that. I'm not willing to use my last counterspell to answer one of those, but that's a lot of life. I will use a fairy for that. Goodbye. Archaeomancer. No. Leaves me a little more naked than I want, and maybe I'm playing this just a touch too aggressively, but I would like to close out this game if possible. Okay, so I think I am going to go ahead and Attack with both my Spire Golems. Oh shit, did I just miss lethal? I bet I just missed lethal. 1, 2, 5. No, I did not miss lethal. But I probably have lethal next turn. Just by snapping that Muldrifter out of the way. Snap targeting one of my Spire Golems. That's fine. Evoked Muldrifter. Sure. Ephemerate type card. Ghostly Flicker on both Muldrifters. And just snap this one back to their hand and crash in for a shit ton in the air. How many fairies do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can also just snap a Spell Strutter and then just counter that spell. That's reasonable. Untap my lands. Play this. Counter the Ghostly Flicker. Now that original Muldrifter is just, like, evoked. Alright, let's battle. So attacking with the ninjas doesn't do any good. I am fine with losing one creature to just maximize damage this turn here. Sure. Puts my opponent to 3, and then I get to play this free creature. My opponent has the potential to do some gross stuff here, but I have a pretty good ability to just turn cards sideways. We'll see what they're capable of. The Ghostly Flickers are good. My opponent has a real bottleneck on white mana this turn, though. Okay, there's another white mana. There's an Archaeomancer. I can return a Snap type card. It is going to. Snap bounces a Golem. Opponent not dead yet. Ephemerate is a problem. Ephemerate returns a Snap. Snap targets a Spire Golem. Yep. Seagate Oracle. Alright, absolutely do not mind having those sprites. That can counter up to a 5-drop. Don't think I want to make any sort of sacrificial attacks this turn. I think I'll just replay my Spire Golems and attempt for something close to lethal next turn. I probably have to sprite this, right? Otherwise my opponent, does the whole Archaeomancer shenanigans and it's bad. Let's counter. Ooh. Alright, my opponent has a counter of their own. In which case, this is not good for me, because that just immediately returns the Ephemerate. So now it's mostly a question of, how many blue spells can my opponent play per turn? Alright, so you flicker that. I assume returning a Snap. Right, they have a Ghostly Flicker in there. Okay, so they can return Ghostly Flicker. Ghostly Flicker gives my opponent more cards. The Archaeomancer returns the Ghostly Flicker, sure. Okay. At the end of the day, you've got a Muldrifter. So one of these gets blocked. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Am I fine with 7 damage in return for losing one creature? Yes. It makes future Spellstarter sprites a little bit worse, but I think I'm fine with that. Yep, there's the Muldrifter block as expected. And my opponent goes to 3. I'm not exactly on the winning side of the equation here, but I'm not far from it. I think this game can still go either way. I can't take... Oh, that's very bad for me. I can't permanently take any creatures out of play with my deck, which is the problem. I can't just, fire off a lightning bolt type effect and just take these things out. All right, let's just yield to those. So my opponent gets to make these, tempo snap plays. I might not be able to beat 2 of those things. At this point, I think it's clear that I don't have a counterspell. I'm just going to F6 and let my opponent do their thing. I have to, remember that this 1-2 thing with Flash is something that is in their deck. Okay. Alright. If I attack in with all of this stuff, I do get in for actual damage. Yeah. I assume my opponent blocks this one. Opponent does block that one. And then it's just Sears. I actually get to get in with a Hacker this turn. Opponent takes 5, goes to 2. Draw a card. I really wanted counter spells here. I've already played a land, sure. So I will play a Miscreant and a Spire Golem. Alright, it has eaten a counter spell. Sure. Alright, so we have some end of turn flickering going on. That's fine. I am falling further behind, but I'm not, like, I'm so close to building a lethal board that I can't really concede here. Like, my opponent isn't super in a situation where they can start attacking yet. Yep. Oh, okay. They are making some attacks. I guess I am wrong. Okay, what is this? Enters the battlefield, you can put a creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Let's target. Okay, so they get their Muldrifter back that way. Sure. Of One Mind is fantastic if it resolves. Big if. Okay, that's an Okay, so Ephemerate for Archaeomancer just means that counterspell can happen immediately. Sure. Okay, that's fine. Am I attacking in with everything? Like with both my flyers? Okay. Ephemerate for what? Or counterspell? Eh. Ghostly Flicker. Sure. I think at this point I am not winning this one anymore. I'm not confident that I'm not winning it though. Alright, I think I'm going to go on the defensive here. I think more than anything, I'm gonna make my opponent burn up some of their clock. I don't think I'm winning from here, but I'm behind about a minute on time. So I think that given how long these games are going, I'm okay burning some of my opponent's clock. But I think I'm just kind of dead here. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and like just edit this out until I concede, because I don't think anything interesting happens for the rest of this game. I'll let you know if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and just like choose this moment to like edit out the next part. Actually, I think I've changed my mind. My opponent has 12 cards left in deck. I think there's a world where I win this via decking. Sure. I'm gonna replay one of these. Yeah, I'm actually not gonna edit this out. Like, this is close enough to the end of the game where, like, there are worlds where my opponent decks themselves if they're not paying attention to their deck size here. Okay, looks like this does resolve. Yeah, but I am just 100% past the point where I can realistically expect to win the game via normal, like, combat damage means. Sure, do your ephemerate shenanigans. Okay, yeah. Ephemerate goes in, ephemerate goes out. Ephemerate goes in, ephemerate goes out. The returning snap, sure. My opponent might just be able to just snap all my flyers out of the way and then just crash in for like 6 followed by 6 followed by 6 and 3 turn me. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. Okay, yeah. Returning gut shot. Okay, so they're going to just like gut shot my things out of the way and then try to 3-turn clock me. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I am going to lose to that. I'll take that damage because I have no other choice. All right, I'll play this Spire Golem. But this one's over. All right, I'm effectively going to concede here, but I am going to waste another 30 seconds or so on my opponent's clock. Okay, as expected, the Muldrifters hit me 2 or 3 more times, and I died. But I did get to the point where I was ahead on clock, which is kind of what I care about. Okay. I don't really have a ton for this matchup, right? Like, I have a set of Dispels, that's about it. My gut shots have super limited utility. I can combine it with other things to get through, but I'm really looking to take advantage of the early game here, because my opponent probably has the better late game. I have no Graveyard Hate to stop those loops. Do some curfew stuff but I think that ends up favoring my opponent. My ninjas are kind of bad in this matchup. My opponent just has a bunch of X3 creatures. Like, they're fine the first couple of times I connect with them, but then they just kind of sit there. Like, if I view them as cantripping 2/2s, that's, like, not the worst, right? Okay. I think I need a hand that can better take advantage of my being on the play. This is okay. These Spire Golems are really important as the game goes long. Pierce will become less good as the game goes long, and I think I have my first 3 turns kind of mapped out anyway with this hand, unless I draw a ninja. But I don't super love this hand. I really need to scry for a ninja. No. No. Like, the counter spell's not that bad, but I have 2 counter spells in hand already. Sure. Oh, nice. I will crash in for my 1 and draw my card. Alright, let's always yes, always yield. Very happy to just continue to make land drops. Alright, sure, cycle away. Or a plains. Yep. Yep, this is kind of what's annoying here. So, how do I want to do this? I think I just want to make my sprites as good as possible. I'll bottom a miscreant. I think I top a snap. I just like take this out of play. I will sprite pretty aggressively. I want to keep the board clear. Bounce land, sure. What does this do, ETB? Target creature from your graveyard on top of your library, sure. Okay. Another cycle. I think my mana's a little tight right now. I think I'm just going to dump this into play. I think I'm going to try to take advantage of my early game as best as I can here. So let's snap that out of play. Wow, ephemerating it. Okay. Sure. Land. Crash in for 2. After no blocks, I'm going to Moon Circuit Hacker. And I will return the sprite. I'll take my value out of that card. Very happy with another snap. That's fine. The second half of this ephemerate doesn't get used super well. I am good with that. Sure. Serrated arrows. That's not bad. And kill my Moon Circuit Hacker. Yeah, and they do. So a snap is just worth a card here for me. In a number of different ways, honestly. I'll crack in with both of these. And Ninja of the Deep Hours as a draw 2. Yes. Hold up Sprite. Probably hold up Sprite. Actually, Sprite's not great with arrows in play. Maybe I should just 2 mana play a Spire Golem right now. Yeah, I think I'm happy enough with that decision. Okay, yep. And a Seagate Oracle, sure. So I can snap creatures back to my opponent's hands, but they have like medium utility, like it's medium value to do so. I can snap the Seagate back to my opponent's hand and like guaranteed draw a card this turn. It gives us both a card, but my opponent has to spend more mana than I do to get their value out of it. All right, I'll untap my lands. I will send in with everything. Yeah. Expected block is expected. I'll deal my 4, draw my card. Got a 1 mana Spire Golem. I think I'll just hold up double Sprite. Again, serrated arrows are quite good here. Okay, there's the Oracle. That's expected. And I can't realistically counter that with what I've got going on here because arrows means I can't build up a decent number of fairies. No. So I'm going to attempt to counter this. My opponent is going to arrows and kill this, and then I'm going to actually counter it. And I'm going to go ahead and just play the second one out. Cut shot. Sure. I still get to counter it because, like, I stacked it the way that I did. Okay, sure. You can return one of those. You don't want multiple Fairy Seers here. Alright, I am going to go ahead and attack in with these. It represents a gut shot. We'll see if my opponent wants to block. I believe the answer is you have to block. So I believe I'm not really, like, truly calling anything here. But, you know. And I will absolutely play these out to just scry towards relevant things. Spell Pierce is not great. I am happy enough with more Spire Golems. I will probably end up leaving that there. Counter spell. Order? Question mark. I think I put the counter spell first. Like, that just stops shenanigans that happen on my turn. I hate that I can't remove this and my opponent just gets so much life gain value out of it. Oh god. I didn't really want these sorts of things to slip into play this turn. The Muldrifter. F. That's so very good. Alright. I'm going to attack with both of these Spire Golems, but my opponent might put a -1/-1 counter on one of them so that they can block with the Muldrifter. Yeah. Oh, wow, they're not going to even mess around with it. Alright, so my opponent has to sacrifice their Serrated Arrows. Yeah, you get your Preordain. And, okay, you're getting a Shuffle now, sure. Get your Island. Up top. Seagate Oracle. Don't love it, don't get to counterspell it. I think I have to save this for some of the, like, bombs that truly matter. Alright, am I attacking with everything and just eating one of these to do 5 damage that puts my opponent to 2? I think I am. This is tight enough that I think this is worth it. Don't think I am going to get over the finish line. I think my opponent is favored here. I'll Spire Golem. Oh, that's awkward. I need these creatures, but I also have to stop the Ephemerate effects. I'm gonna try to stick more things that don't get blocked by Muldrifter. My opponent is gaining more life than what I can do in a turn, though. I think this one's over. Wow. Okay. My opponent is ready for this matchup. Now I can really only attack with these two. That is not great for me. My opponent is taking the block, and then they're going to Serrated Arrows. Yeah. Oh, they're going to Ephemerate. That's even grosser. Okay. This one is over in favor of my opponent. I'm not going to win from here. I'll play it out in case I can win on time or something, but I'm not going to win by traditional means. I think it's going to take my opponent like 2-ish turns, but they should be able to get out of this. Yeah, there's Chaomancer for Ephemerate, and I'm not doing enough damage a turn. Sure. Yeah, my opponent has Serrated Arrows and Gut Shots and the random other fairy thing to kind of help with this deck. And my opponent just, like, already in the first place kind of invalidates ninjas. Like, because they have these just, like, 1 mana X4 creatures. Alright. I am done. Okay, that's a second Ephemerate. Yeah. At this point, I can say I think that I am confident that I am not going to win, and I am comfortable conceding here. That's fine. I still end up with a 3-2 in the league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I'll stick with what I said at the beginning. I think this strategy is very clearly S tier, right? Like, this strategy is insane, and even with my opponents gunning for me as hard as they were, like with main deck hate cards, I was still able to play very reasonable games against those cards. I don't think this exact version is where the deck needs to be. As I saw in multiple rounds, I think answering opposing creatures is extremely important. Because if I had the ability to take some of my opponent's creatures off the board in that last round, I think I could have pretty easily won. But I just did not have access to that ability. And accordingly, I couldn't keep getting in with my ninjas. So, like, while the snap effects are good and very mana efficient, I don't know that that's where I really want to be at the end of the day. That said, I like most of the supporting cast here. The of 1 mines were very good, but I think it's worth it to cut Spire Golems or like a second color, because you can really only play these when you're only playing islands. Like, they were fine. They were quite good in some matchups. But I think if you have some Lightning Bolt type removal, that can either get you over the finish line or, like, take opposing blockers out of the way. Yeah, I like this strategy a lot. I also feel like some of my sideboard options are kind of limited. Like, I'm very good at a couple of things, and then I kind of fall off pretty quickly if I'm not dealing with one of the exact things that this sideboard is meant to do. Like, I'm great at addressing artifacts, I'm great at addressing red spells and instants, and then from there, it's like, oh, no, I don't get to do anything else. So I think this strategy is great, and you should expect to see a lot of it moving forward. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button. If you have any thoughts about, like, versions of ninjas that you think are particularly good, feel free to leave those in the comments. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!